Hi, Stampers. Welcome. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations, and I'm excited today to be sharing with you this tri-fold hidden door card. I have this one here that I made using perennial lavender, but today we're going to be making a masculine version using the Weekend Adventures designer series paper, and I'm excited to get started. Okay, as I said, this is the fold that we will be doing. But we're going to start out with some early espresso cardstock. So I have a piece here that is 6.5 by 5.5, scored at 2.25. And then I have a piece that is 10.5, actually just a shade under. We probably need to trim off just a touch because we want to make sure that it's not going to interfere with this score line right here. But this is 3 inches by about 10.5, scored at 2, 3, 5.5, and 8. The first 2 will be mountain folds, and the next 2 will be valley folds. So you will end up with something about like this. We're going to be decorating this with some designer series paper. As I said, this is called Weekend Adventures. This is going to go on the inside. It is 4 inches by 5.25. And then I have 2 that are 2 inches by 5.25, and they're going to go on either side right here. So those will go to our base, and then we're going to decorate this strip with a piece that is 2 inches by 3 inches, and that's going to cover that completely with no border. That is on purpose. Okay, I have a 1 inch by 3 inch. Again, there's no border. Then I have 2 that are 2.25 by 2.75, and they will have borders, as well as this one that is 2.25 by 2.75. That is very vanilla. This is where we will do our inside stamping. Okay, we're also going to decorate this side. I have a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock that is 2.25 by 2.75, and then a piece of the designer series paper that is 2 inch by 2.5. Okay, so we can go ahead and glue down all of our layers. And as I said before, these 2 sections are not going to have a border. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that using liquid glue so I can wiggle it around and make sure we are flush on the edges. So I'm making sure I'm flush at the bottom, and then I'm right butted up to the score line, but not actually going over the top of the score line. Okay, that may give me a little teensy bit. I'm going to have to go back and just trim off using my snips, but I'm okay with that. I'd rather have it too big than too small, right? We're going to do the same thing with this layer, and that we're going to butt it right up to the score line, but not cover it, and then make sure that we are flush with the edges. Okay, I have a little bit to trim up here as well. I'm just using the cardstock as a guide. Now we're going to do just a little bit of stamping, and I'm going to do that using Early Espresso ink. And I'm using the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set. I'm using the Hello and Thinking of You, but you can use whichever stamps you wish. I'm going to stamp the hello on this small piece of, looks like it's roughly 2 by 2. And then I'm going to do the thinking of you on this inside layer. Okay, when I adhere this strip to the base, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to match up this score line with this edge of the card here. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could go over just a teensy bit more. But the idea is you want this to be able to, open here. So try to keep that score line right at the edge. Okay, now the first 2 panels will be open, and I'm going to make that mountain fold and this valley fold and this valley fold. So we're kind of sandwiching everything together. Okay, so with it all stretched out, I'm going to fold in this side, and then I'm going to close it and have the 1-inch section outside. Now I want to put adhesive on this section. This is the section that is behind the very vanilla layer where I stamped my sentiment. And then we're going to just close the card. So with that totally smashed together, I want to make sure that sticks. And that's how our card's going to open. Okay, so now we're ready to put the sentiment on the front, but rather than keep it square like this, what I want to do is I want to punch it out using the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. But you may notice I don't have a lot of excess room to hold on to this to put it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of Post-it note, and I'm going to stick the Post-it note to my scrap piece. And that's going to give me what I would call a handle to be able to stick that in there and move it around and put it exactly where I want it so I can punch it out. Okay, then I just remove the Post-it note and we're all good to go. So we can put that on there flat, or you can pop it up with dimensionals. I think I'm going to go ahead and lay it flat only because there's quite a bit of thickness to this card already, and I don't want to pay too much extra postage. Because if the card is of a certain thickness, then the post office may charge you a little extra. And then all you need is a few embellishments, and you're good to go. So this is our tri-fold hidden door card. And I hope you like it and give it a try. So thanks so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you here again. Thank you so much. Bye.